Oh, hello there, and welcome back to David Prescott Carson Reads the Word. We have an enlightening passage for you tonight. Ezekiel 23, the message. The word of the Lord. God's message came to me, Son of man, there were two women, daughters of the same mother. They became whores in Egypt, whores from a young age. Their breasts were fondled, and their young bosoms caressed. The older sister was named Oholah, the younger was Oholibah. They were my daughters, and they gave birth to sons and daughters. Oholah is Samaria, Oholibah is Jerusalem. Oholah started whoring while she was still mine. She lusted after Assyrians as lovers, military men smartly uniformed in blue, ambassadors and governors, good-looking young men mounted on fine horses. Her lust was unrestrained. She was a whore to the Assyrian elite. She compounded her filth with the idols of those to whom she gave herself in lust. She never slowed down. The whoring she began while young in Egypt, she continued, sleeping with men who played with her breasts and spent their lusts on her. So I left her to her Assyrian lovers, for whom she was so obsessed with lust. They ripped off her clothes, took away her children, and then the final indignity killed her. Among women her name became shame, history's judgment on her. Her sister Oholibah saw all this, but she became even worse than her sister in lust and whoring, if you can believe it. She also went crazy with lust for Assyrians, ambassadors and governors, military men smartly dressed and mounted on fine horses. And I saw that she became incredibly filthy. Both women followed the same path, but Oholibah surpassed her sister. When she saw figures of Babylonians carved in relief on the walls and painted red, fancy belts around their waists and elaborate turbans on their heads, all of them looking important, famous Babylonians, she went wild with lust and sent invitations to them in Babylon. The Babylonians came on the run, fornicated with her, made her dirty inside and out. When they had thoroughly debased her, she lost interest in them. Then she went public with her fornication. She exhibited her sex to the world. I turned my back on her just as I had on her sister. But that didn't slow her down. She went at her whoring harder than ever. She remembered when she was young, just starting out as a whore in Egypt. That whetted her appetite for more virile, vulgar, and violent lovers. Stallions obsessed in their lust. She longed for the sexual prowess of her youth back in Egypt, where her firm young breasts were caressed and fondled. Therefore, O Oholibah, this is the message from God, the Master. I will incite your old lovers against you, lovers you got tired of and left in disgust. I'll bring them against you from every direction, Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shoah and Koa and all the Assyrians, good-looking young men, ambassadors and governors, elite officers and celebrities. All of them mounted on fine, spirited horses. They'll come down on you out of the north, armed to the teeth, bringing chariots and troops from all sides. I'll turn over the task of judgment to them. They'll punish you according to their rules. I will stand totally and relentlessly against you as they rip into you furiously. They'll mutilate you, cutting off your ears and nose, killing at random. They'll enslave your children, and anybody left over will be burned. They'll rip off your clothes and steal your jewelry. I'll put a stop to your sluttish sex. The whoring life you began in Egypt, you won't look on whoring with fondness anymore. You won't think back on Egypt with stars in your eyes. The
the word of the Lord.